All right, today we're going to talk about an organization with a mission that feels more important now than ever. We for You World. And honestly, their whole goal is right there in the name: rebuilding strength, restoring hope, and reviving human connection. So let's get into what that really means. You know that feeling, right? You can be in a packed room, surrounded by people, and still feel completely disconnected. Well, that very question is at the heart of why an organization like We for You World even exists. To really get what they're doing, we first have to understand the world they're working in. So let's talk about what we can call the modern disconnect. What's really fascinating here is how all these things are tangled together. You've got rising loneliness, for sure, and the breakdown of traditional support systems like family. But at the same time, so many people are struggling with who they are, feeling like they have to bottle up their emotions, and still facing a huge stigma when it comes to just talking about their mental health. And that right there brings us to their core belief, the fundamental idea that drives everything they do. It's so simple, but so powerful. No one should feel alone in their struggle. That's the problem they are setting out to solve. And here is their answer. This is We for You World. They're a community well-being organization based in the UK, and their whole deal is to build safe, ethical, and structured spaces where people can find support, reflect, and ultimately grow. So how do they actually do it? What makes their way of doing things different? Well, that brings us to our next section, a new kind of support. Their guiding principles are crystal clear. Think of the mission as the what and how. They provide support that's easy to get to and comes right from the community itself. And the vision, that's the why. They're aiming for a future where taking care of your emotional health is a top priority for everybody. And that stigma we talked about is just gone. Okay, that all sounds great, but what does it actually look like day to day? Let's break down the specific things they do. They've built their whole system on 4 main pillars. So, picture this. Someone's feeling a little lost, maybe a young professional who's just totally overwhelmed. They could start with pillar 1 and step into a confidential listening space just to talk, to be heard without any judgment. Then they might move to pillar 2, getting mentorship from someone who's been through something similar. After that, maybe they join a workshop on managing stress. That's pillar 3. And finally, and this is so cool, they might feel so empowered that they decide to train as a volunteer themselves. That's pillar 4. It creates this amazing cycle of community care. Now, you can't just offer this kind of support without a really solid foundation. This isn't just about having good intentions. It's about being professional and ethical every step of the way. And this is where you really see how deep their approach goes. Their framework pulls from all these different areas. They use strict ethical listening principles and have safeguarding in place to make sure everyone is safe. They use insights from community psychology, offer faith-conscious grounding for those who want it, and use real, practical tools from life coaching to help people move forward. Okay, this slide is so important for understanding their role. They are not clinical therapists, and they are not a crisis hotline. For that person we were just imagining, this isn't about getting a diagnosis. It's about getting early preventative support. They call it structured compassion. It's a vital community service that works alongside but doesn't replace professional mental health services. The whole idea is to strengthen people before things hit a crisis point. And holding all of this together are these 4 core values: integrity in everything they do, total confidentiality for the people they help, real compassion in every interaction, and a huge sense of responsibility to the community they're serving. So, with this whole structure in place, who is it for? Who are the people actually using these programs? Let's take a look at who they help. Their reach is pretty wide, actually. They're there for young adults trying to figure out their purpose, for families struggling to communicate, and for anyone just feeling overwhelmed by stress. But it's also for anyone who's just looking for a place to belong. And see that last point? They also support the volunteers who want to make a difference, which creates that powerful community cycle we were talking about. And this all leads us to the final and, maybe the most important piece of the puzzle: the power of community. We for You World isn't operating in a bubble. They see themselves as a bridge, filling that critical gap between professional therapy and just, everyday life. And they do it by partnering up with other community groups, faith institutions, local councils, and even corporate well-being programs. At the end of the day, it all boils down to this one powerful idea. It's a shared responsibility. It isn't just up to the professionals or a handful of organizations. It's on all of us to help build a society where people feel supported and connected. So what does that leave us with? It's a big question, really.
We For You World is one answer, but their whole vision is a challenge to every single one of us. How can we, in our own lives, in our own communities, help revive the human connection that we all need to thrive? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.